Internet world. This is Cristen. I am back and just wanting to talk about two things that I think can help reduce a sense of helplessness right now. A common issue that's getting talked about, of course, with the times that we're living in is that this idea of the unknown. The future is very unknown. We don't know what's happening. We don't know when things are going to end. And this does kind of naturally lead to people feeling a bit helpless. And that's not a great place to live, of course. And so we're all kind of living under this pre-traumatic cloud. And I say that because the basis of trauma is not knowing, being out of control of something, and something being done to you really without you having any control or consent in that matter. And the other piece that really contributes to this being kind of a pre-traumatic time period for a lot of people is that we really can't do what we usually would do in an effort to try to help ourselves in this situation. So other time periods where maybe something's being done to you, if it's a lawsuit or something's happening at work, we usually have some means to try to help ourselves through that. We are extremely limited, and so the lack of knowing and then also being really limited in how we can actually support ourselves kind of contributes to all of us living in this pre-traumatic kind of time period. And I keep hearing from lots of folks like this sense of timelessness, like what day is it, and what day of the week is it, and how long has this been going on, and all of that is this sense of trauma, like losing sense of time. And so that's my first tip, if you will, to try to help with this helpless feeling, is to exercise your sense of agency via structuring your time and routine. So because the issue of time is so important, we need to start trying to control our internal worlds as much as we can. And I mean internal, like the four walls that we live in, but also our internal emotional worlds. So saying, I'm going to wake up at 8 a.m. and I'm going to do yoga for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to eat breakfast with my friend on the phone and have a conversation over breakfast, and then for an hour I'm going to read a book, and then at lunchtime I'm going to get on Zoom and eat lunch with another friend and check on them. Being able to delineate the time and exercising control over your time reestablishes this sense of agency, which we all really need to try to protect ourselves from this pre-traumatic cloud that we're living in. The other issue that I mentioned around having limited resources right now as a means to cope with the unpredictability is this kind of second tier that contributes to this being a pre-traumatic time period, and I think of it as the ability to be mobile. To put this in a different kind of framework for a second, if there was someone running down the street at you, you would on some level observe the threat and you would move out of the way. If there was a bus coming as you were walking into the street, or a car coming as you were walking into the street, you would see the threat and you would mobilize and you would move, right? We have a threat and we are very limited in how we can be mobile to get out of the way of the threat and to actually allow nature to run its course and to regulate our emotions. And so this idea of mobility is also really an important one to get creative with keeping in mind, because it is going to be a protective factor as we're kind of living under this pre-traumatic time period. And to think about, how can I exercise, maybe quite literally, but how can I exercise my sense of mobility? How can I feel control in my body and in my interior as a means of coping with the unknown that is outside of me? And so get moving. Maybe that is literally exercising. Maybe that is walking around the block or on a trail somewhere. Maybe that's doing some push-ups. Maybe that's stretching. Maybe that is dancing, singing. You can exercise control of your body by cooking. You can follow the steps of a recipe and see a predictable outcome. So I hope you're starting to notice a pattern here, because I want to really convey that we want things to be predictable, and we want things to be in your control as much as we can, and to really take control of those things if we have the ability to do it. I would much prefer that someone say to me, Cristen, I am so bored, because that at least means you're living in a very predictable world, and I would much prefer that as opposed to what we are actually dealing with outside of ourselves on a day-to-day basis. It means you're exercising control. It means you are having a sense of agency in your life, and those are very important things right now. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that it got you some general framework for thinking about protecting your own sense of agency and your own time in your life, and feeling a little bit more in control and less helpless. Stay tuned and subscribe as the community grows and I continue to upload more videos, and I will see you next time.